Hi, my name is Monica James. I will be presenting my research proposal for applied educational research at Columbus State University. The course number is EDUF 7116, and it is spring 2016. The title of my research proposal is The Effectiveness of Virtual Learning in Low-Income Schools to Support Student Achievement. I will be using a quantitative research, which the book classifies as a research that relies primarily on the collection of quantitative data. The design I will be using in my study is a quasi-experimental research, which is defined as in the book as being as experimental research design that does not provide for full control of potential confounding variables, primarily because it does not randomly assign participants to compromise comparison groups. It is superior to a weak but inferior to a strong experimental design. One of the reasons why I chose this topic is that I teach in a low income school district and I teach at a Title I school. I have currently been in Troup County school systems for 5 years. And within those 5 years, I have personally seen how technology and has enhanced our student achievements and success, mainly on standardized tests. In the 5 years I have been at Lone Cane Middle School in Troup County school system, I have seen the school grow from one computer lab to now having three. And I have also seen administrators introduce different tutoring and learning programs that has resulted in, again, higher test scores, being proficient in certain skills and learning abilities. For example, this current this current year, our administrators introduced students to an online program to help them be proficient on keyboarding. As you know, the Georgia Milestone State Assessment is partly online. So again, the administrators have introduced a keyboarding tutoring program where students have to go 30 minutes twice a week to help them be proficient as far as keyboarding. So when it's time to take the test, they won't be looking down at the computer and it will speed up their typewriting speed, which can ultimately help them score higher on a test because that will decrease their time in mashing one button at a time. During my research, I have learned a lot about low income schools, students, what many schools and different schools have done to help students achievement statuses and help students achieve more and higher test scores. One research that I have found shown that children of low income school districts display very low math and reading skills by the time they start grade school. And this is very alarming because I have also found so many research that have said students that struggle in elementary and middle school ultimately quit school by the ninth or 10th grade year. So I really feel as though technology can help these students stay on the right track and not be at risk of dropping out by the ninth and 10th grade year. And again, low income students are often missing from the graduation picture because they fall behind in the classroom and they end up dropping out by the ninth or 10th grade year. So by having more technology and more learning and tutoring programs available to students in low income school districts can decrease those rates. Teachers of both the highest and lowest income students are the most likely to say that digital or technology tools are widening the digital divide across the schools. The purpose of my research proposal is to test the hypothesis that virtual learning is effective in low-income schools, as judged by the students' level of understanding than traditional classroom delivered instructions. Participants will be students in a literature course, a quasi-experimental, post-test, only research design will be used. Students will be divided into two groups. Each group will be receiving instructions on the same topics. One group will be receiving the instructions in a traditional classroom setting, and the other will be receiving instructions on virtual learning. The scores will be evaluated to determine if virtual learning is more effective than the classroom setting. If the research hypothesis is supported, the online class will score higher on the post-test than students in the traditional classroom setting. I found two very interesting articles during my literature review. The first one is a comparison between a traditional and an online environmental educational program. In this article, the researcher compared knowledge and attitudes of a junior high school and students before and after their participation in an environmental educational program delivered in two different ways. Both groups received the same amount of training and homework. The sample size was 297 students selected from 4 schools throughout Greece, with 8 meetings held over a term of 10 weeks. The researcher used post and pre-test results. The findings in this article resulted in the online class scoring higher. So the researcher concluded that the online class were more effective than the traditional classroom instruction, based on a 3.43 difference in the post-test scores. The researcher also included a survey, and in that survey, he learned that students who were engaged in the online classroom setting actually enjoyed working independently by themselves. They enjoyed working at their own pace and not having any distractions from their peers. And the second article, Impact on Low Achieving Middle School Students, Mathematical Achievement. In this article, the researcher used a tutoring program of students that have failed the mandated state standardized test the previous year and also failed the pre-test to the tutoring program. So in this article, I really enjoyed this article, by the way. Again, the researcher, he used at-risk students. All students who were involved in this research were at risk. They had failed the state standardized test the previous year, and they even failed the pre-test to the tutoring program. So all students who were involved in this experiment were on the same level. All of them was at risk of failing this current year. So the researcher introduced a tutoring program to students, and he wanted to see how they compared to students that have received no training, who was not involved in the tutoring program. He learned that where the results were that the school one had results of a gain of 0.95 for tutor students and only a gain of 0.24 for non-tutor students, and a large gain for tutor students in school 2 of 1.7. The online learning can help at-risk students achieve higher test scores by being actively engaged in programs that foster to their needs. So again, I really enjoyed this article because it showed that even though that these students were not involved in online classes, they were involved in an online tutoring program that helped increase their scores compared to students who were not involved in the tutoring program. So again, it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the PowerPoint presentation, that technology and different programs can help student achievement. Even if they're not taking a class online, by simply providing a tutoring program to foster their learning needs, because they've failed the standardized test the previous year. So to give them a tutoring program that catered to those skills and those learning needs, it helped increase their scores. The method I will be using is a quasi-experimental, post-test only design method. The classes of 60 students will be divided into two groups. Computers will be available for the groups that receive the virtual delivered instruction. And there will also be a survey, a pretest, but it will not be analyzed. But the post-test will only be used for data and analysis. The data will be analyzed using a t-test for independent samples. Analysis of the survey to understand the students. The data will be analyzed using a t-test, which is basically the books defined as a statistical test used to determine whether a correlation coefficient is statistically significant. The two groups post-test scores will be analyzed. Analysis of the survey to understand students' knowledge and attitude before and after their participation in an educational program delivered in two different ways. I'm hoping that my hypothesis is supported within my results, and that the group that received the virtual learning-based training will score higher on the post-test than the students that is involved in the traditional class. However, the null hypothesis, which again the book defines as a statement about a population's parameter, cannot be rejected if the group that received the classroom delivered scores either better than or as well as the treatment group, which will be the virtual classroom setting. So again, I just hope that my hypothesis is supported and that the virtual or online training group will score higher on the post-test. I have enjoyed this course. I have learned so much about applied educational research. It was a struggle. It really was. But again, I learned a lot. Some things I would definitely take with me as far as writing APA, how to present or proficient and excellent literature review and research proposal. I want to thank you for everything, responding to my emails, calling me, answering all the questions that I had. Again, I have enjoyed this course. I have learned so much about writing, and I just want to thank you.